Okay, all right, we ready then?
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Okay, right. Hi everyone, thank you for joining us. This is a quick whistle-stop tour set of videos for MS365 and Teams. My name's Leslie. I'd like to also introduce you to Elliot, Kat and Sam, who are all going to be playing their part in this set of videos too. So we're going to start back at the very beginning, where they say is a very good place to start, and I'm going to share my screen with you. So what we want to do first is to show you what you will be looking at. Hopefully everybody can see that. So when you first go into Teams, you will see that you've got a bar down the side. I'm going to take you through 3 of those little icons to start with. So in activity, you can see here on the screen all the activity that I've been engaged in with other colleagues and different teams going down the side there. If I want to go into one of the other teams, I can do that and just click on it, and I can see the last set of posts that were going on with regards to that team that I was in. You've also got an icon called chat. So if you click on there, you can see all the individual chats that I've been engaged in, and they will be with various people. If I want to start a new chat, we go up to the top here and we click the little square with the little pen in it, and you click new chat. What happens there is you then need to enter some names. So I'm going to enter Elliot. I think I spelt his name wrong. Sorry, Elliot. It's a double L. And I would click, and everybody who is on MS365 and Teams, their names will automatically appear as you start to type them in. So we can see Elliot there. And then if I add Sam, I can click Sam Lake. And if I click Cat, I can add Cat as well. Now, as you'll see, we've all been in previous conversations. Not sure whether this is appropriate or not, but it's there. So I'm going to say, hi, everyone, and I'm going to send them a message. So on the right here, you can see that 11:02 a.m. I sent a message, and you can see that Kat was typing. You can now see that Elliot is typing, and their messages have come through. What you can do when you see a message and you want to agree with it or something, you can hover over it and a load of emojis will appear. So I can give the thumbs up there to Kat. I can say to Elliot, we can have the heart reaction. Oh, that actually clicked on Sam because she was typing at the same time as I was doing that. So that's something to be aware of as you go through it. And with Elliot, I could have a laugh out loud. You'll see an ellipsis there, the 3 dots. There, you can do other actions with regards to the message that you're just looking at. If you decided that you wanted to come back to that message later, you could mark it as unread. Okay, and that means that it will show up here that you've got a message in there that's unread. Of course, I'm pointing at my screen and you can't see that, so I'll go with my little pointer there. So that now shows that there is an unread message in that conversation. Okay, so once I click on it, it's done. That's chat. There are various things that you can also do in chat. You could also make a video call in this particular group, and over here to the right you can view and add participants. So if I wanted to add somebody else, I would click add people, and then I would type their name in, and it would give me the option of, I'm not going to type in a name here, but don't include the chat history, so they literally only come in at the point you're bringing them into the chat. Or you can include history from the past number of days, and that would be past 1 day, or you could change that to 2, or you could include all chat history. Once you've chosen the option there, you then click add and it brings that person into the conversation. I'm going to cancel it for now. The next thing I want to show you is calls. So when you click on the calls icon there, this is where you can have different groups of people. So all your contacts can be in here, and you can either add them to speed dial or you can create a group. Here, these are a number of people that I originally added into my speed dial function. I've also got here a group for me that's called change managers. So all the Future Northants change managers are in this group. And then I have other contacts here. I could view it based on the contacts that I currently have. It will also potentially suggest to me other contacts that I might like to add. Now, when you have your contacts here, you can go into, you can start a video call directly with that contact, or just call them in another normal way without a video. Or again, with the ellipsis, you have the option to chat directly with that person, remove them from that speed dial, or remove them from that group. Okay, what this also shows you in this view is the status that people are showing. So that's a nice quick way of seeing whether they're available here, as Tendai would currently be. We can see that our colleague Steve Nichols is already in a call. Sam is in a call because she's in this one. And we can see that Karen here is away. Okay, we can also see that another colleague here is actually offline, so they're not showing in MS365 and Teams at the moment. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I'm going to hand over to Kat.
So thank you, Leslie. That's brilliant. Okay, so I'm just going to take you through Teams. As you can see, I'm in quite a lot of teams down on my left-hand side here. You'd normally set up a team for a project that you might be working on, or it might be a program. And then within each team, you can have different channels. So within each channels, you can have a subset of people that are within that team, and you can also make them private or keep them public. So you might have a channel for example, here we've got the Microsoft 365 project. We always have a general, and we also have our own adoption and change channels where we talk about everything to do with adoption and change. But there's also ones there for communications, and then different aspects of the project, and they've all got different people in depending on who's involved in those different parts of the work. So when you first go on Teams, you might see one team, which may be the WNU or the NNU one, and there'll be a general and there'll be a welcome. And there may already be some teams that other people have set up, but you just haven't been invited to yet. So if you want to see what teams have been created already, just click on the join or create team, and then you can see which teams have been made public by colleagues, your colleagues, and you can actually then join any public teams that have been created. What you won't be able to see is any private teams that people have been created. If you can't see a team that you want to join, or you feel like you want to create a new team for a new project or a new initiative, you press on create team. So from here you can either build it from scratch or from an existing team. What we'll do is we'll build it from scratch. So here you have the choice about whether or not you want to make it public or private. So if you make it private, then it won't actually show on this board that you can see behind you. So when other people are sort of browsing, they won't be able to see your private team. But what we'll do is we'll make it public so that other people can see it, and we'll just call it training team, not with the comma. And if you want to, you can leave a description so that when people are browsing, they'll actually be able to see what that team is about. So when you're creating the team, nice work, you can then choose who you'd like to have in your team. So I will add the lovely people on this call there. So it's as simple as that. You just start typing their first name, and they'll come up if they're already in your authority. You can also add people outside your organisation, as it says here, as guests by typing in their full email address. So I'll add those people to the team, and you can see that they've all been given the automatic rights as a member. What I could do is also change all of them or one of them to an owner. So I'll change Sam to an owner. So my new team is here, and you can see that it automatically creates a channel called general. So that's just where all the general chat and things like that will be able to go. What you can also do is create more channels for that team. So I could add a channel here. So for example, if this was a project, I might have a communications work stream for this. So I might add one called communications. So say if it was only me and Leslie that would have access to that, I could make it private. And then what I'd do is I'd only add Leslie. Oh. So what I've done is I've added another channel within our new team, but I've made it private and I've only invited Leslie within that. So Sam and Elliot wouldn't be able to see this team, and Leslie and I could chat within here if I start a new conversation. No one else will be able to see that. And I could also send her gifts and things like that. Leslie loves a good gift, don't you, Leslie? So it's worth noting at this point that any other owners can also see all of the channels within a team. So even though I haven't actually invited Sam to this very private communications channel, Sam can also see this channel as well because she's an owner, but Elliot won't be able to. So that's the kind of difference between the private channels and the public channels, and also the private teams and the public teams. Also, when there are when there's new stuff happening within a channel or a team, you can see that it goes bold here. So because Leslie has put a lovely GIF in there, it's gone bold just to alert me that somebody's put something new in there. So within each channel, within the teams, obviously you have this chat facility. So you can be talking to each other about the work that you're doing, really, really handy for collaboration. But also you can post files. So within this files tab, you can either create new documents, which then you can collaborate on, which Sam will go into later. So if I press on there, press new, you can create a new folder or a Word doc or any of these things. If you've already created something on your just on your computer and you've got it saved on your downloads or something, you can then pull something in from here and it'll be stored in there. So this is kind of like a front end of SharePoint. So this is actually going to be saved on your SharePoint, but you can just access it here through Teams. So that's really handy just for that collaboration. Okay, so that's everything I'm going to talk about with Teams. What I'll talk about next is this calendar part here. So what this calendar is essentially is exactly the same as your Outlook calendar. It's just accessed in a different way. So they're always going to be in sync. They'll show you the same things. You can actually create meetings within this Teams calendar part here. If you do, it will automatically default to a Teams meeting. And also if you just created normal calendar invites from your normal Outlook, obviously it will copy across to here. It's quite handy to access your calendar through Teams because it's got this handy little join button when things are going on, and also when you access the meeting by double clicking on it, you can see everything about that meeting. You can also access all of the chat associated with that meeting. So this is especially handy when it's a recurring meeting because you can sort of look back on all of the chat that has happened to do with that meeting today and in the past. So also down this pane along the bottom, you could, if you would like to, well, actually, I'll show you files first. So within here, just shows all of your recent files that you've been working on, which is really, really handy because, you know, sometimes you're working on a few documents at a time. Rather than sort of navigating it back to it through Teams, you can just grab it from here. But also you can add customized apps if you use any of these things regularly. So a popular one that people tend to add is the tasks by the planner. So you can have planners in all of the different teams that you work with, and this just shows you like a consolidated list of all of your actions that you need to do for your different projects, which is really handy. And also OneNote's quite a handy one as well, because lots of people use OneNote for making their personal notes. So yeah, that's everything for the Teams pane.
Thanks, Kat. So now we'll be going into Teams calls themselves. So just before we start, there are two kinds of main calls in Teams. Number one are pre-arranged meetings that will appear on your calendar and so on. Those can be one-off or recurring events. But then there's also Meet Now, which is immediate calls with people that you can see are online. So when we go through a Teams call, this is a Teams call that's been pre-arranged. It's a meeting. You should have the following options at the top. So number one, we've got participants. You can click this and see who's present in the meeting. We could also add someone else into the meetings by typing the name. So in this instance, Cheryl, but we'll spare her the bother of inviting her. You can also add in anyone outside of the business, so any external email address, they'd be invited in as a guest. Under here, you can allow, you can set whether you want attendees to unmute themselves. If you have got a lot of people in a meeting, maybe you want everyone set to mute so there's not a lot of background noise. You can set individual permissions of people in the meeting and also download an attendance list. Moving on, we've got conversation. So this is chat, similar to the chat function itself within Teams, but this is linked to the meeting. So only people in this meeting can see this chat. And once the meeting's over, the chat will still be available. So for example, here I've put in a link. That link will still be available to people after the meeting's finished. If there's ongoing issues and things you want to talk about, you can do so. And if it's a recurring meeting, this chat will always be present for all instances of future meetings, which is quite handy. There's the raise hand function. I think this works exactly as it does in Zoom. So it notifies everyone in the meeting that you've got something to say. Works well for, if there's questions or a quick scan of the room of, yes or no, raise your hand for yes, leave your hand down for no, that kind of thing. It will remain raised until you lower it. So remember to do that if you're asking questions and so on. We've got breakout rooms, which is a new feature of Teams. It allows you to split the room into smaller breakout discussions. So if you want to have like a quick team huddle and split people into sort of 2 or 3 groups or whatever, it's easy to do so. You can set how many rooms you need. You can automatically assign people randomly so that it will try and do it as evenly as possible, or you can manually assign individual people to different rooms. Under the more options, we've got device settings. So this is where you can tailor your chosen input and output devices, so things like speakers, microphones, and camera. There's meeting options. So this is a setting to vet whether you want people to openly be able to come into the meeting, anyone in your organization, or you can allow sort of outside guests. And you can set whether you want callers to bypass the lobby. So there'll be an admittance option that appears if a guest is trying to enter the meeting. You can turn that on or off. You can turn off whether you want callers to be announced when they join or leave. And you can set who's able to present in the meeting. So screen sharing. And again, we've got another option here for the muting and unmuting options. Make sure you click save when you're happy with the changes there. These are the different views for the people present in the meeting. I think we don't have enough people for the other options to be available, but it's basically just quick ways to see who's present in the meeting. You can change between the active speaker showing up or having little icons of everyone. If you've got 10 or more people in the video. You can toggle between full screen and windowed mode, and that's fairly self-explanatory. Background effects. These are quite fun. So currently I'm obviously just at home in my flat. I can firstly just set a blur, which is quite nice. It's quite a professional, clean background. And obviously if you've got a bit of a messy house, it's quicker than tidying up. There's a load of preset backgrounds in here that you can apply. So here we go, I'm at the beach. There's a few sort of fairly neutral ones, but you can also add your own images. So this is a photo I took on my holiday in Devon last year. It's quite a nice one. Just a nice picture of some mountains. So these can be quite good fun. I'm going to stick back with the blur just as a sort of unintrusive, sort of professional looking background. You can turn on live captions, so I've just enabled that, so we should see at the bottom of the screen words appearing as I'm speaking, and it's all automatically generated. They're pretty good, to be honest. They're pretty accurate. They can occasionally go awry, but these are recorded after the meeting. If you're recording the meeting, so if you're doing a screen record, you'll be able to view the captions afterwards, which can be quite easy to get hold of a transcript or whatever, or minutes pretty quickly and automatically. As I said, they're not perfect, but they're pretty reliable. I'm going to turn that off for now. So yeah, speaking of recording, down here is where you would enable or disable screen recording for the meeting. It's worth noting that obviously you need everyone's consent in the call if you want to record the meeting, but it's a great way to capture everything that was said, and if someone missed the call or whatever, they can watch it back, or if you want to look at the captions again and sort of get a transcript. There's a dial pad, so if you don't know someone's email address, or they've only got access to a phone, or you can only call them on their desk phone, you can enter their number here and they can still join the call even without internet access or an email address access. And finally, there's you can disable incoming video. So if you're in a busy call with 20 people and they've all got their video on, if you're on limited bandwidth or a slow internet connection, you can turn off all the incoming video so that you just hear their audio. And then finally up here, I can turn my camera on or off. So there you just see my icon. I can mute myself. Again, useful in a sort of a larger group if you want to cut out on background noise. And then I can share my screen. So I'm currently sharing my screen, but if I clicked on this, I'd get options. I can choose between sharing a window, so just choosing a particular window. So I've chosen the Teams window, or you can share your entire desktop, your entire screen. So you'd see, the start bar and whatever app you had open, everyone else would see. So that's about it really with Teams calls. Very useful, very quick way of getting in touch with people and collaborating and discussing. So I'll pass you on to Sam.
When we're sharing documents, we have a couple of options for how to access them. You can access previously created documents, or you can create brand new documents. What we're going to do now is create a brand new document in a Teams area. So I'm going to go into Teams. I'm going to open up our existing team that we've created. Here, we are going to go into the files area. And we can see here we've got a number of documents already created. Now, I'm not going to edit one of those at this point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new one in this extra folder. So I just go here and I will create, and you can see you get the standard Office template. So you've got Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and a OneNote notebook. We're going to create a Word document. So this is a test document. And we just hit create. And that then saves into the team folder, but it also opens the document for you to edit. So this is a blank document, so we can just start typing our text. We'll just type some text. This is a text document. What I can do then is I can continue making changes to this document, or I can invite somebody into this document to make changes in real time alongside me. So if I go into start a conversation, I at the user that I'm looking to collaborate with. So I will pick Leslie. Her name will come up. I will then just invite her to the document. And I will send her the message. That will then send her a link to this document that she can then click on via her email, or if she's in Teams, it can come up in chat in activity. She'll be able to click on that and then join me in the document. Let me just hide the conversation for the moment. When we've finished our editing, we will close the document. And it's worth noting that in Teams, all documents are consistently saved all the way through. So I'll close it. And you can see the test document has now gone into the files area of this Teams channel. So if I wanted to share the fact that this document is now complete with people, I can copy a link to the document. It is a very long link. So you would copy it, and then you can paste it in any of your normal contact methods. So you would either go into a chat, for example. You could create a new chat. You could say, please see the document. And then you can just cut and paste. So you can paste the link. As you can see, it is quite a long link. Now, there is a quick method of renaming that. You can overtype. Then whoever you at in this group here, so we're sending that to Leslie. You can also paste that link into an email. I can then send that to anybody I want to be able to access the document. All right, now I can turn that into a hyperlink by selecting text, insert, hyperlink, and then I can paste the link that I've just copied in there, and that will then turn that into a link. And I will then send that to, let's say we'll send it to myself. And then that document will appear in my inbox via a link. So if I want to then pick up that document, all I do is I click into it. And that will then open Teams and open the document directly, and you'll be able to see it. Right, so I've got this text document now, and I'm going to invite somebody to collaborate with me on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a conversation. I am going to @ the person that I want to get involved with me, and I'm going to invite Leslie in this instance. So I'm going to select Leslie, and I'm going to say, join me. And I'll send her the message. Now I can see Leslie on screen, so Leslie will pick up the message at some point. You'll receive it in her email or in a chat. It can come through either way, and all she'll have to do is click on the link and it will bring her into the document. And I should see her arrive. Okay, so we can now see that Leslie has opened the document because she has appeared in this little icon at the top here. And I can see her cursor. She's writing a little message. So we can continue in this vein, and we can collaborate on the document, make any edits, make any changes that we want, and then we can each save the document, and all those updates will be saved. Okay. So what we can also do is we can bring somebody else into the meeting. So I will also invite Kat to the meeting. But what I'm going to do here is I am going to go to the Teams area. I'm going to get a link to the document. Yeah, so I'm going to copy the link. And then I'm going to send it in a chat to Kat. So I'm going to say, please join me here. Document link. Again, it's a long link, so I'll just overtype that. And then I will @ Kat in the chat message and send her the link. And then I'm going to go back to the document, and Kat will appear as if by magic in the same way that Leslie did. So now Kat has arrived because I can see her little face in the top, and she can collaborate. So that's 3 of us all collaborating on the same document in real time. Okay. When we finish collaborating on this document, we can close it down. So I'm just going to close the conversation here. I can close it down. And then it will just save into our file. And then you can also see the last person to close the document will be the person identified as the last modified by. When you open the document, you will also see any changes that were made after you left. So you can see that after I closed the document down, Leslie and Kat made a few extra changes, and I've been notified of those. So this, you can see, when you open the document in Teams, it comes up with Teams version of Word, which is a simplified version. So if you wanted the full version of Word with all the editing and formatting options, if you open it in the desktop app, you'll be able to see all of the options that you would be normally used to. And you can also leave comments as Kaz. And you would also leave comments as Kat has done just a minute. Again, when you save the document and close it down, it will save into the folder automatically. I'm not going to save it because I don't want to overwrite what we've done. I'm just going to close the document down.